Joining me now is Paolo Von Schirach. He's president of the Global Policy Institute. A lot to get to here, Paolo. You know, from these hacking indictments, visa restrictions, now this consulate closing. What is the Trump administration trying to do here? And what is behind this increased pressure?
Well, look, it's hard to say exactly. There may be multiple reasons. One of them being the elections. It's quite clear that Mr. Trump, of course, he started his contentious relations with China already a few years ago. It all started with the trade deficit and the tariff wars. We remember all that. But that matter, which seemed to have subsided back at the end of last year, has really come back with a vengeance. And it's not just about trade, but now it's about the COVID, it's about the South China Sea, it's about Hong Kong, it's about everything. So it would appear right now, one of the motives is that Mr. Trump, who is obviously, as we know, running for re-election, is trying to find a strong theme that would resonate, he hopes, with at least some of his backers to say, well, I'm being tough on China. Again, there are many, many issues here, hard to break them all down. This matter of the consulate is just the latest one.
Well, we know that consulates typically just deal with travel documents, paperwork. And the U.S. here is alleging intellectual property theft and spying, in particular, to this Houston consulate. This is really unprecedented. We know that the U.S. did this to Russia about 4 years ago. So how significant is this move, this order to close a consulate, and what does it mean symbolically?
Well, it means a lot, obviously. Clearly, consular relations are part of the general framework of the, diplomatic relations between two sovereign countries, in this case, the United States and China. And they regulate, obviously there's an embassy, an American embassy in Beijing, a Chinese embassy in Washington, D.C., and how many consular offices will be allowed in each country. Again, it's not unknown, regardless of this particular issue of Houston, that, in some instances, some countries have used their diplomatic facilities to hide spying operations which are really untoward. And it's not unusual. I mean, during the Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union, it happened many times of diplomatic personnel being expelled as persona non grata, on suspicion of conducting activities beyond their, diplomatic functions. So here, this is a big one because this is a big consulate in Houston that covers many states. And as we've heard, at least the official American position is that they allege that the people working at the consulate or associated with the consulate in some fashion engaged in untoward activities. Of course, we don't know what they are. Nothing has been explained publicly. But that's the official position. It wouldn't be surprising if China would retaliate against this move by closing an American consulate in China. I wouldn't be surprised to see that happening.
You touched on this earlier. We heard the U.S. president just a day ago referred to COVID-19 as the China virus. So where do you think relations go from here? Can we expect even more big moves as we get closer to that November election?
I wouldn't. I'm afraid, as much as we would like to see, the temperature go down and some form of negotiation or dialogue to be rekindled, I doubt that this will happen, honestly, between now and November. I don't think so, because, again, my impression as an analyst is that the Trump campaign really is using this spat with China as an issue that builds up candidate Trump. So we see here, unfortunately, this is not unique and it's not like it's never happened before, that foreign policy becomes a tool for the campaign. Can we see, as I said, relaxation of tensions? I don't think so, and not between now and the elections.
All right, Paolo Von Schirach, always great to hear your take. Thank you for joining us.